Hello everybody, I am Keaton, and this is Kid Catholic Season 9, Episode 12, and for today's episode, I want to do another movie review. I haven't done this in a little bit. The movie that I want to look at is Prey, the story of Patrick Peyton. Now, I was really sort of interested as to what this movie was going to be about, if it was going to be like the fiction type movie or more of a documentary style. This is a documentary, and a lot of times when I say that, I sort of get checked out. I'm like, oh, it's a documentary. No, thank you. I'm not really that into documentaries, but this one was different than just a normal documentary because it actually takes you through the story as if you're watching like a fictional movie, if that makes sense. But obviously it's not fictional, and Father Patrick Peyton just has an incredible story, and honestly, I'm really surprised I hadn't heard about him, considering of how popular he was when he was around. So I want to talk a little bit about his life, a little bit about what the movie explained at least. And this is about an Irish immigrant who was around in the early 20th century and set sail for America in 1928. Now, what's different about a lot of these saints who we see setting sail for other places is he wasn't, like, insanely Catholic at that time. His parents were Catholic, and his parents tried to educate him in the Catholic faith, but it was said that he was, like, a pretty self-obsessed, sort of cocky type teenager. And so when he left for America, his dream was to be a millionaire. He didn't want to be a priest, he didn't want to be a bishop, he wanted to be a millionaire. And so he came to Pennsylvania with that goal, and he didn't get any work, so he got the job as a janitor for a cathedral. Which I think, it just goes to show God has a plan for everything, right? At the end of the day, he came back to God. And spending so much time in the cathedral led him to that closer relationship with God, sort of opened his eyes a little bit, and he later it changed the whole course of his plan. And he had intentions of becoming a priest. However, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and that's when things sort of dropped a little bit, and he dealt with that illness and with that suffering. But later on, he eventually became a priest, and this is the part that I really want to focus on. He started this mission to get the family to pray together. And that's like the biggest part. That is what sort of the whole movie focuses on, right? The saying, the family that prays together stays together. I didn't know this, but that's Father Patrick Peyton. That was his saying. That's what he came up with, right? Now, this is, I think, the most interesting part of his story. And honestly, seeing it happening today would be out there and highly improbable, but never impossible. He got some of Hollywood's biggest actors at that time to join him in that mission. Like, what they started a TV show, a radio show, trying to get families to pray together. Apparently, it said in the documentary, which I thought was really, really cool, Father Patrick Peyton maybe spoke to the most people in person of any human being ever. Like, he had huge crowds that he would come and speak to about this dynamic of the family praying together. And the reason I wanted to talk about it this week is with the chaos of everything in 2020. A cherry on top of 2020 is the chaos of the election. We can't even have an election go normally in 2020 because, of course, nothing is going normally in 2020. I think with all this chaos, the biggest thing that we need is family unity. The family sticking together. The family makes up the society. And that is what is really emphasized in this film. Now, it wasn't just the family that prays together, stays together, which is what they mainly focus on in the documentary specifically. But he also had a saying that says, "A world at prayer is a world at peace." And that sort of goes along with what I was just saying. I think that that's the number one thing that we need right now with the chaos that is ensuing in our country, something that I've never seen in my lifetime. Obviously, I'm 15, but I think a lot of us haven't seen in our lifetime, and it's insane. And Father Patrick Peyton knew that society would fall apart if the family didn't pray. And I think that we're seeing a reflection of that. So Father Peyton in the 20th century came about and got families to pray together. He was so successful in getting families to pray together. He literally had Hollywood actors come into his radio shows, TV shows, telling families to pray together. Which, imagine that today, like, now Hollywood is so, how do I say this lightly, not Catholic, so anti-Catholic. In fact, it gets to a point where there's a difference between not Catholic and just straight up anti-Catholic. Back then, he literally had Hollywood actors joining him. Imagine if we had, like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart telling you to pray. That's what it was like back then. Would that happen now? Probably not. Maybe we could get it, but back then, it's the same shock level. right? That Father Patrick Peyton was able to go in and persuade them to do that, which is just amazing. And it worked out really well in the end. Toward the end of his life, he was diagnosed, or he continued to suffer from tuberculosis. And he was so weak and so old, yet he wanted to still go out and preach. He wanted to go out and talk, despite the doctors trying to keep him staying down, trying to keep him in his bed, saying, no, you can't do this, like, you're gonna die. It's serious. He went out and he continued to talk to people. He continued to preach. And he later died. Now, a big thing that I was thinking about when watching this documentary was, why isn't he a saint? Why isn't it Saint Father Patrick Peyton? If he did all this, then how haven't I heard of him? Well, a cause for sainthood opened up in 2001. He is currently venerable. So, venerable Father Patrick Peyton. And hopefully, if we keep our prayers up, then he can become the patron saint of family prayer, which would just be absolutely amazing. The family that prays together stays together. Now, Father Patrick Peyton has this beautiful message that, and something that I like about this documentary isn't just, this is the story of Father Patrick Peyton's life, this is what happened in a boring way, because like I said, I'm usually not a big fan of documentaries. Something that I like about this documentary is it also gives us Father Patrick Peyton's message. Instead of just saying, hey, this is what his message was, it says, this is what his message was, and here is the message, and here's what you should do, and we need to expand on this even now. So, in a way, the viewer is sort of getting Father Patrick Peyton's message as well, which I think is something that in this generation, in this society where basically everything was going smoothly, and then 2020, everything kind of broke apart. Not kind of, everything did break apart. We need that family unity. We need that family prayer. And being able to watch a film like this, not only seeing someone who was so passionate about family prayer, and again, the reason he was passionate about family prayer was he had this dynamic growing up. He did family prayer when he was young. Yeah, he wasn't like super involved in the Catholic Church and super practicing Catholic, but his parents were. And so I think that we're seeing that trend even now. We're seeing like teenagers sort of fall away from the Catholic Church. And so seeing someone like Venerable Patrick Peyton get so excited about family prayer can be very beneficial to us. So I highly recommend this documentary. I don't recommend just thinking about it as a documentary, because I did that before and like immediately watching, and I was like, I don't know about this one, because again, I'm not that into documentaries. I mean, they're a documentary, but this one isn't just a regular documentary. It's in the movie sort of style, so we still get the life of Father Patrick Peyton as well, and the message that he was trying to deliver. So I think the number one thing that I want to leave off with, that I think that we all need to leave off with, right? Well, there's two things. One, the family that prays together stays together. This isn't just a message in the movie. This isn't just a message Father Patrick Peyton was trying to say years ago and it's irrelevant now. This is a message that we need even today. In Father Patrick Peyton's work and what he did and his mission is still being heard even today, which is just incredible. But something else is to go and watch this documentary. Please, like, it's a really good documentary, or I'm just going to start using the word movie, because calling it a documentary makes it sound boring. I was lucky enough to get an early screening of it, so you can find it online, and it is called Pray, the story of Father Patrick Peyton. So now that the topic is done, y'all know what it's time for now. It's time for
the Saint of the Week.
And for today's Saint of the Week, we could count Venerable Father Patrick Peyton as that saint, but I mean, he's been the topic all of this episode. So I wanted to talk about West St. Jude. The reason I want to talk about St. Jude, I know I've done it before, is because he is not only the patron saint of impossible causes, which is what he's most known for, he is also the patron saint of chaos. And like I mentioned, in a time that needs family prayer more than ever like this, and in a time of chaos like this, that is what we need. So not a lot is known about St. Jude's life. What is known is that he was an apostle of Jesus Christ, a cousin of Jesus Christ, which I actually didn't know, so that's like really cool that he was a cousin of Jesus. He was present at Jesus' Last Supper. He was the one who asked Jesus, we read in the New Testament, like, why don't you manifest yourself to the world after your resurrection? Like, why don't you come out and show everybody? He was the one who asked that. And what else is known about him, again, not a lot, but what else is known about him is that he is credited he is credited. I can't say credited every time I film a Kid Catholic video. Anyway, what else is known about him is that he performed a lot of crazy miracles that were considered impossible. And again, it wasn't him performing them, it was Jesus performing them through him. But still, he was credited with that, which is truly amazing. Now, he was martyred. We don't know how he was martyred. We just know that he was martyred. And something else that is cool is his remains were taken to St. Peter's Basilica and placed in the same tomb as Simon the Zealot. Now, what I knew is that in St. Peter's Basilica, there were so many relics of so many people. I very well could have seen St. Jude's relics, and I didn't even know it. Which, like, now I want to go back, because darn. But yeah, the main point that I want to get across for this video is not just to go watch the documentary, but to pray together as a family. I don't care how awkward it is. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. In a time like this, where our society is the way it is, it's what our society needs. And so we can begin that. And anytime we feel like we may be struggling with that, we can look through St. Jude for help. St. Jude, pray for us. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Please comment any Saint or topic suggestions that you may have down in the comments below. Please check out 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description down below. And please go check out my website, kidcatholic.com. There's so many awesome things you can do on there. You can read about me, contact me. All my videos are up there. Whatever you want, please go check that out and share this channel video with your friends and family. Make sure that they know about Kid Catholic. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see y'all next week, and hi, Brielle.